Geico is the fourth largest private passenger auto insurer in the nation. Everyone is a winner with Geico, so come and play a game and visit with the Gecko. Geico provides auto insurance coverage for more than 9 million policyholders and insures more than 15 million vehicles. Geico also offers customer insurance for their motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles, for boats, for homes, apartments, and mobile homes. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote and see the Gecko in person at the Geico booth anytime throughout the course of the day. All right.
Thank you, Danny Clisham. The C-17's going out there, and welcome to the stage a gentleman who's going to tell you all about this amazing airplane. He actually flies it, so he can tell us all about it from Altus Air Force Base. Please welcome Captain Jeff Holscher. Hey, Jeff, welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Great to be here.
Tell us about this huge airplane. It's a big thing.
It's a large airplane, but it maneuvers like a lot smaller airplane than it actually is.
Tell us why.
It's got 4 very powerful engines, and it's just a very, very maneuverable aircraft.
Interestingly, ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever been aboard a 757 jetliner, you've actually flown on the civilian version of this same engine. Each of the engines generates around 41,000 pounds of thrust, but those 4 engines will get this airplane lifting about 580,000 pounds maximum gross weight.
That's right, 585,000 pounds.
Wow! And yet, how short a takeoff roll can you get? Say, how much does it weigh? They're going to get them all up to full power, then release brakes and go for a short field takeoff, right?
That's right.
All right, take a look, ladies and gentlemen, representing the new heavy lift capability with an amazingly high mission readiness capability and record. Watch for the brake release. You'll see the nose come up as we start the roll on the United States Air Force's C-17 Globemaster III. There she goes. She's on the roll. Tell us what's going on in the cockpit.
There she goes, Rob. They're accelerating the takeoff speed. They're going to actually accelerate a little bit faster so that they can get a higher initial climb rate. You'll see them rotate very quickly and climb out at a very steep angle. And there they go.
Now, when you said, Jeff, that it handles like a much smaller airplane, I've heard some people say, is it a fighter or is it a freighter? Because it's got a stick, hasn't it?
It does have a stick, that's right, so we can maneuver a lot faster than the yoke may be able to.
But it's got huge wings, a wingspan of 69 feet?
That's right, 169 feet. It's a very large airplane.
Now, Danny Clisham,
Jeff, I got a question for you.
Sure.
That pitch up was extreme. Was that about 30 degrees of pitch or nose up on that takeoff?
That was around 35 degrees.
Wow, that's amazing. And he capped off an altitude probably of about 1,500 feet or so?
Right at 1,500 feet, that's right.
1,500 feet. Okay, now they're going to do a little teardrop, I think, and Jeff's going to put you back inside the cockpit and tell you about the speeds and the altitudes of the next maneuver. Jeff?
That's right, here they come for a high-speed pass. You'll see the high speed and quiet capability of the aircraft. It's a very quiet, maneuverable airplane.
Now, in addition to having that stick like a fighter, it's also got something else that most cargo airplanes don't have, and the fighter has.
That's right, it's called a heads-up display, so we can keep outside of the aircraft and see all the vital information as we're flying.
Now, that doesn't mean that Jeff is outside of the airplane. What he means is your vision goes through the HUD or heads-up display right outside of the windshield, and then translates into the out of doors instead of looking down at an instrument panel. Jeff, the speed target on this pass?
The speed target on this pass is around 320 knots.
Well, that's 320, 350, 370 miles an hour.
And I wanted you notice that turnaround, that pylon turn off to the left. All right, watch.
Actually, on this one, it's going more closer to about 160, the high-speed pass.
Yeah, fooled you.
But now this is what's so amazing for me, is that you rack it around almost 70 degrees of bank, don't you?
That's right around 60 degrees, and you'll see it here again. They're climbing up again for another pass.
The C-17's first flight took place back on September 15th, 1991.
And if I could be so bold, the reason for the C-17 was to take the best qualities back then of the C-5, which we have one on ground display by renewal of Anderson and one into the air, and the C-130, take the best characteristics of those two airplanes and add it to an airplane that was in service back then, the C-141 that has since been discontinued and has shut down in service. Take the three best assets of those airplanes and put them into one airplane, and that will be the do-it-all newest airplane.
How many do we have in the entire inventory right about now, Jeff?
Right now we have around 180 C-17s in the U.S. inventory.
And Jeff, I read that the Canadians have just purchased one for their military.
They have purchased one. They're going to purchase 4.
Total of 4. And over in the UK, they picked up, I think, 3.
That's right.
Off of the assembly line. I guess what we're getting here, it's important to keep that assembly line, which is in Long Beach, just off the 405 freeway. Keep those airplanes coming out so they are not discontinued.
Keep them rolling, that's right.
Well, now, Jeff, take us through this next maneuver.
All right, here you see the slow maneuverable capability of the aircraft. They're coming up at around 120 knots. You can see that they're just basically hanging on the edge of the wing. The power is what's keeping them flying at this time.
Now, one of the other things that you can see, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not an aviator, look at the trailing edge of the wing, and we see those flaps extended that really increase the wing area to about 3,800 square feet.
That's right, and they deflect the...
Oh!
They're waving, everybody. Wave back.
You talk about maneuverability at slow speed with still having stall protection. That means the wings are still capable of creating lift, even though you're in a bank. And that particular lift is scrubbed off a little bit because the efficiency in a bank is reduced.
Not only does it have trailing edge flaps, but it has leading edge slats that really increases the lift of the wing, the lifting capability of the wing. And in addition to that, adds a lot of drag. But when you got 41,000 pounds of thrust times 4, you can keep this airplane in the air very easily, can't you?
That's right, Rob. It's very easy.
Now, do you get a feel, my assumption is that it is an electric jet. In other words, if you shove the stick to the left, it's got computers telling the airplane what to do.
That's right. It's called an electronic flight control system. It actually takes the pilot's inputs and goes through computers and then finally goes out to the flight controls to get the desired effect.
Again, check out this turn. This is what I love. When you can get it around the inside parameter of an Allied base and keep it from being hit by enemy fire outside the perimeter of that airport, by effective maneuvering at low altitude and relatively low speed, low radius of turn, that is very impressive. That turn alone right there, that's amazing.
Now, we see on the edges of it, we see those winglets that are on the end of the wingtip sticking up. What are they for? How big are they?
They're about 9 feet tall. They actually just increase the efficiency of the aircraft so we can go longer, we can cruise farther.
So reduces some drag from those wingtip vortices a little bit?
That's right, Rob.
All right, now coming through from the left, what we got, Danny?
All right, now you can look at this and either look at the C-5 on ground display and you see, oh, what's the size difference here? Well, this airplane, the C-17, can carry 80% of what the giant C-5 can carry. The idea was to get the biggest equipment like tanks, like self-propelled howitzers, and like combat-ready tanks into the airplane and not have the size curtail what you carry in it. You can't always port in on a coastal port. You can't get your equipment there. If it doesn't have roads where you're fighting, you've got to fly it in. And if it's too small, you can't get it in. Now, you've got the big equipment in there, but you've got the capability of flying at small, unimproved airports. Airports that are not long, that are maybe not paved. This airplane, with its unique landing gear, spreading the weight footprint out over a greater period, like snowshoes, like using snowshoes over the snow area, it does that as well. It also has some great maintenance features for work that needs to be done out on the road.
As it comes back around, you can put 102 fully set up combat troops in stowable seats, or you can even turn it into a hospital configuration with 48 hospital patient litters, up to 109,000 pounds of cargo, including the Army's M1 Abrams main battle tank. It is huge. And I see it comes, you know, it pulls up. This has got to be just incredibly fun to fly, Jeff.
It's a blast. And flying today are Captain Tom Phillips and Captain Justin Capper, 2 local Buckeyes from Ohio State University.
That's great.
All right, and all Ohio crew. Now, Jeff, when you're out on a mission, the required crew members on board are at a minimum as compared to some of the other transports we have. You can operate with the 2 pilots and a 3rd loadmaster?
That's right, just 2 pilots and 1 loadmaster. No navigator, no flight engineer. It's just the minimum crew.
Now let's say, for any reason, because of an unimproved strip, you blow a tire. That's possible. What I have read is that the individual oleo, the gear, will pick up the tire that went flat by itself, leaving the others to support the airplane, and then you can change it without jacking up the entire airplane. Ease of maintenance out on the road. Panels that are at eye level to where the maintenance specialists work on the airplane, so they don't need ladders, they don't need workstations or anything of that. It's right where they're at. Panels come off, they fix what's necessary, and you're on the way again.
All right, now we're going to set up for a landing. Couple of things I want to tell you. It's been a very quiet airplane. Just as an airliner wants to be a good neighbor and be quiet, in combat, the quieter you can be is going to be better. But look at the engine nacelles, those cowlings around the engines. You're going to see something that's going to help the C-17 land in a very short space, and that is thrust reversing. Rather than having the jet exhaust going out the back, you'll see it come towards the front. And watch on the nacelles, you'll see panels open up as it reverses the thrust, and it's just about the noisiest this whole airplane is going to get all day. Watch for the panels. There, they're coming open. Now listen to the noise.
Oh, that's impressive. Not just one reversing system for engines, but a reversing system for the fan and for the engine. All right, we back it up because, look, it may be out in the combat zone. No parallel taxiways. You only need 80 to 90 feet to turn it around, but maybe you won't even have that. So then you must back it up.
Now, I got a question for you, Jeff. I see the loadmaster in the door on this side. How do you know how to back it up?
The loadmaster takes care of all of that. He's actually he's calling our backup for us so that we know we're not going to hit anything, and he's waving there at us, you can see.
So he's on a headset talking to the guys in the front saying a little left, little right.
That's right.
Faster, slower,
That's
whatever.
Right.
Ah, gotcha. We thought maybe there was a backup cam. But it's a human backup cam, right?
That's right, Rob.
Turning around in a very, very short space. Look at that. And we see those spoilers at the top that also help. And they're saluting. They're waving to Dayton. Did you see that? They were throwing the spoilers up and down. That was just for the Dayton crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you like what you own? It's the C-17 Globemaster III. Cool. Where's home for you, Jeff?
Home is Altus Air Force Base, Oklahoma.
And now that's where the airplane is stationed. Where's home for you personally?
Jefferson City, Missouri.
Wow, so you're kind of a Midwestern kind of guy, aren't
you? That's right.
That's great. Well, thank you for your service. Hey, you got a little more, or is that pretty much the completion of the demonstration?
That's the end of the demo for today. There will be another one tomorrow.
You going to fly it tomorrow?